The midnight mistake. The neon lights of Chicago usually felt alive, but tonight they felt predatory. Elias Thorne, a freelance night shift photographer, was perched on the rooftop of an abandoned warehouse, hoping to capture the perfect gritty skyline for his portfolio. He adjusted his lens, the shutter clicking softly. Suddenly, his viewfinder caught something in the alleyway below. Two black SUVs had pulled up. No sirens, no lights, just shadows moving with military precision. Elias zoomed in, his heart hammered against his ribs. Through the $4,000 glass of his camera, he saw a man, a prominent city councilman, handing a glowing, metallic briefcase to a figure hidden in a heavy trench coat. But it wasn't a drug deal. When the briefcase opened, the light it emitted wasn't gold or cash. It was a pulsing, rhythmic blue. Then the unthinkable happened. The councilman pulled a silenced pistol and executed the figure in the trench coat. Click. Elias's finger had acted on instinct. He had captured the exact moment the bullet left the chamber. The flash of his camera, though faint, reflected off a puddle. The councilman froze. He looked up, directly into Elias's lens. He didn't look scared. He looked annoyed, as if he'd just spotted a mosquito he needed to crush. "Rooftop," the councilman barked. Elias didn't wait. He grabbed his bag and sprinted. He didn't take the stairs. He hit the fire escape, his boots clattering against the rusted iron. Behind him, he heard the heavy thud of car doors and the screech of tires. He reached his beat-up sedan, threw the camera into the passenger seat, and floored it. But as he looked in his rearview mirror, he realized it wasn't just one car following him. The street lights above him started flickering, then turning off one by one, as if the city itself was closing its eyes to what was about to happen. By the time he reached his apartment, his phone buzzed. It was an anonymous text. "The footage is worth more than your life, Elias. But dead men can't sell photos." How did they know his name? He hadn't even reached home yet. He looked out his window. A black SUV was already idling across the street. He wasn't just being followed. He was being hunted by the very people who ran the city. The web of betrayal. Elias didn't turn on the lights in his apartment. The blue glow from the mysterious briefcase in his photos was still burned into his retinas. He grabbed his laptop, trembling, and began backing up the memory card to a hidden cloud server. "Who do I call?" he whispered to the empty room. His first thought was Detective Miller, a good cop he'd known for years from his time shooting crime scenes. Elias grabbed his burner phone and dialed the private number. "Miller, it's Elias. I've seen something. Something big. Councilman Vance, he killed someone. I have the photos." There was a long silence on the other end. "Elias, where are you right now?" Miller's voice sounded strained, almost hollow. "I'm at the safe house. The one near the docks. Meet me there in 20. Elias didn't go to the docks. He was smarter than that. He sat in his darkened car 3 blocks away from the dockside warehouse, watching through his long-range lens. 10 minutes later, 3 black SUVs, the same ones from the murder scene, pulled up. Detective Miller stepped out of the lead car, shaking hands with the councilman's lead enforcer. Elias felt a cold shiver down his spine. The good cop was on the payroll. In this city, the law wasn't a shield. It was a weapon used by the highest bidder. Suddenly, his car's dashboard screen flickered. His GPS started rerouting itself to a location called the Void. Then, his car doors electronically locked with a heavy thud. Identity confirmed. Elias Thorne. A synthetic voice echoed from his own car speakers. Assets seized. Terminate protocol initiated. His car, a modern model with smart integration, was being hacked. The engine roared to life on its own. The accelerator slammed to the floor, but Elias wasn't touching it. He was trapped in a 2-ton metal coffin hurtling toward the river at 80 miles per hour. He grabbed his heavy camera tripod and smashed it against the driver's side window. Crack! The reinforced glass held. He swung again, screaming as the car veered through red lights, narrowly missing terrified pedestrians. With one final, desperate blow, the glass shattered. Elias rolled out of the moving car just as it soared off the pier and plunged into the icy black waters of the Chicago River. He lay on the wet pavement, gasping for air, bleeding from his shoulder. He watched his car sink. To the world, Elias Thorne was now dead. But as he looked up, he saw the city's massive digital billboards change. His face was on every screen. Wanted Elias Thorne. Armed and dangerous. Suspect in multiple homicides. They hadn't just tried to kill him. They had erased his reputation. He was now a ghost in a city that wanted him buried. The lens of justice. Elias Thorne was a ghost. He was bleeding. His car was at the bottom of a river, and his face was on every most wanted screen in Chicago. But the councilman had made one fatal mistake. They thought Elias was just a witness. They forgot he was a photographer. Elias didn't go to the police. He didn't go to the press. Instead, he broke into the one place they'd never expect, the city's Global Tech Summit, a massive event where Councilman Vance was about to give a keynote speech on the future of urban security. Using his knowledge of the building's service tunnels from an old freelance gig, Elias slipped inside. He was dressed in a stolen waiter's uniform, his injured arm tucked tightly against his side. In his pocket was the one thing they couldn't hack, his high-speed physical memory card. The councilman stood on the stage, basking in the applause of thousands. On the giant screen behind him, a sleek presentation began. Security, Vance announced, is about control. Elias was in the control booth. He had already neutralized the distracted technician. With trembling hands, he bypassed the presentation software and plugged in his card. And control, Elias whispered from the shadows, starts with the truth. Click. The polished presentation on the giant screen vanished. In its place, a massive, high-definition image appeared. The councilman, his face twisted in malice, standing over the body in the alleyway. The blue pulsing briefcase was visible in crystal-clear detail. The room went silent. 1,000 phones went up, recording the screen. Vance froze. He looked at the screen, then at the crowd. He tried to speak, but the image changed. It was a video Elias had pulled from the councilman's own cloud server while hiding in the booth. A list of every bought cop in the city, including Detective Miller. Get him! Vance screamed, pointing toward the booth. The doors burst open. The councilman's enforcers rushed in, but Elias wasn't there. He had already hooked his camera to the building's high-speed fiber optic line. Upload complete. The screen hissed. Elias hadn't just shown the room. He had live-streamed the evidence to every major news outlet in the world simultaneously. The Blue Pulse technology in the briefcase was revealed to be a prototype surveillance chip designed to track every citizen. Illegal, unconstitutional, and now public. As the police, the real ones, tipped off by the global broadcast, swarmed the building, Elias stepped out onto the rooftop. The same rooftop where it all began. A black helicopter hovered above, but it wasn't there for him. It was the news. The world was watching. Elias took one last photo. The sun rising over a city that was no longer under Vance's thumb. He took the memory card out, looked at it, and dropped it into the river below. The truth was already out. He didn't need the evidence anymore. He needed a vacation. The end. Please subscribe my channel and see you in the next video.